Today I'm going to focus on a brand new program we have here on campus titled, it's the URISE program that stands for Undergraduate Research Training Initiative for Student Enhancement. I wrote the grant last year and you know, my colleagues ask me why I spend so much time writing grants. And I write them because they support students. And this is no exception. This is what is called a training grant. It is a grant it's a grant supported by NIH, the National Institutes of Health. I'm sure you've heard about that institution. And it's specifically under what we call NIGMS, National Institute for General Medical Sciences. And so as you can see down here, the grant that we have and the new program we have at CSUB, it's called a T34, so T standing for training. And so what the grant supports generally is the training of students to then promote them to go into the workforce, and also so that we can train our upcoming researchers and scientists that are going to be battling all of those questions and all of those diseases that we just don't quite know about. And so the program supports students getting into PhD programs, generally in the biomedical fields, which of course is a lot of different fields. So basically it supports basic research that increases our understanding of biological processes, and it provides the foundation so that we can advance in our knowledge of diseases, diagnosis, treatment, and prevention. Okay, so program goals. And I want to focus, before I start talking about the URISE, I want to focus on this word diversity. It's very, very important to me. In terms of the background that I have from, I'm very diverse. I'm first generation, which many of you may be. I'm Hispanic. Again, in the community, our population at school is the majority of Hispanic students. I'm female, and I'm learning disabled. And so when you put all those together, first generation Hispanic, female, learning disabled, and I'm a behavioral neuroscientist. I use animal models to study different diseases and conditions and drugs, and hope that those data will help assist understanding the condition in humans. And so I'm what I call a unicorn because there aren't too many of me. And I'm going to talk about that concept of unicorn in a little bit. But the program goals are to develop a diverse pool of undergraduates who are going to go into the workforce, complete their undergraduate degrees, and transition into an MD or PhD program that's research focused. And so that's what the program trains our students to be, very competitive to get into PhD programs. So diversity, why is diversity important? I love this illustration. Science needs diversity. You know, science is all about problem solving, right? And problem solving, the scientific process, in terms of problem solving, the research has shown over and over and over again that teams that are diverse, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different socioeconomic status, different values, you bring those people together and they promote better problem solving. The first bullet here, this study is very interesting, showing they looked over millions of publications. And they found that, and also patents too, and they found that those publications that had teams that published in big groups, those were the ones that were more highly cited. So it used to be, in the old days, science used to be one person comes up with this new invention or discovers something that's a biomedical breakthrough, but it's so different now. It's groups of people coming together to solve these problems. And also diversity is important because when we do research, you bring in your values, you bring in your background, and depending on you and your experience, you may have a particular type of research question. If it's always the same groups of people, always the same questions, then it leaves out those questions that are very, very important in terms of things that are facing groups that are underrepresented. So diverse groups do better problem solving as compared to non-diverse groups. Minority groups have shown more innovation to figure out a problem than non-minority groups. And also diversity increases satisfaction working with teams, right? So diversity is very, very important. Just a picture of my lab. As you can see, we're all diverse, and not only diversity in who we are, our backgrounds, but diversity in species. You can see our rat participants there eating up the Fruit Loops. We're doing an experiment on learning and memory. But I love this saying here: diversity of perspectives, ideas, and priorities comes from varied backgrounds, experiences, and cultures. It can help shape science. And even if you're not in the realm of the biomedical sciences, diversity is good for every type of area that you're going to get into. I always felt when I went to grad school, I was the only me. I was the only Hispanic. I was the only female. I was the only learning disabled. I was the only first generation. And at first it made me feel like I was the imposter syndrome, right? Do I belong here? And I found out once in my program that I really had a lot of positive input to whatever the situation was, because my perspective was completely different from my colleagues. Okay, so let's see if I can transition here. Okay, so this is the problem here, folks. This is the number of doctoral degrees earned in the United States, 1920, by ethnicity. And you can all see the problem here. When I think of myself and my background, only 8% of us are getting PhDs. Similar with African-American Black people of color, similar with people that have two or a little bit less, two more races. So you can see here, the problem is we don't have diversity within those individuals that are getting PhDs. That's why I urge all of you, I don't care where you're at, as an undergrad or a master's student, I want you to shoot big, and I want you to consider to get a doctorate degree. Even worse in my field, the biomedical sciences, you can see here it's pretty similar. 8% of scientists in the biomedical sciences are Hispanic. African-American Blacks are at 5%. And you can see the majority here is white or Caucasian. And so this is a problem. And this is what this grant does. It addresses this problem of having a lack of diversity within the field of the biomedical sciences. Okay, so URISE. This is our new logo, a little beaker with a sunrise to match the university. And so I'm going to go ahead and transition to talk about our wonderful program. Okay, so who are we looking for? We're looking for students who want to get into PhD programs, the desire to get into a program, and a PhD program or an MD PhD program in the biomedical and behavioral fields. And that is very broad. So after you hear my talk and you think, well, I'm not quite like chemistry or biology, I don't want that to stop you from speaking with me and talking about how you may actually fit our program. And the cornerstone of the program is to support undergraduate research. We know that research is the gold standard of getting into PhD programs. So that's what we really focus on. We support our faculty and our student teams in doing research. Now, when I wrote up the grant, I specifically said I was going to target chemistry, biology, kinesiology, psychology, but this can also be for other majors. Okay, so what are the eligibility? You need to commit to at least 1 year or up to 3 years in the program. So if we catch you early when you're a sophomore, you could be in the program for 3 years. You will engage in research part-time during the school year and full-time during the summer, because we have a special thing where we send you off to an R1 institution, which the R1 institutions are those that are considered research intensive. We send you there, we pay the whole deal. You get the experience working with postdocs and other PhDs. That you plan to pursue a PhD, that you are a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, that you're enrolled at CSUB full-time, that you have a minimum of 60 units or sophomore status, you have an overall GPA of at least 3.2 or higher, I have an asterisk by this because we have taken in students into our program that had lower GPAs because they were stellar in other areas. So don't let that limit you. If you don't have a 3.2, we conditionally take in students. And we do hope that you have a research faculty mentor doing research in the biomedical behavior fields. If you don't, we will place you with one. Okay, so what do you all receive? You receive close to $14,000 as a stipend per year. Isn't that amazing? And that's to support you doing your research in the lab so that you don't have to have that part-time job. We pay for some of your tuition, close to $4,500 of your tuition. I think tuition right now is $7,000 something. So we cover a little bit under a half of that. We provide one-on-one research mentoring, funding for your lab supplies, funding for travel to scientific meetings, funding to visit graduate programs, funding for graduate school application fees. Now, I caught the tail end of that last session, and I don't know if you all talked about that roadblock of, great, I'm going to apply to a PhD program or I'm going to apply to graduate school, but I can't afford the fees. I hate when I hear that from students because it is expensive. And so this program is excellent because we will pay for your application fees. Okay, so the one-on-one research mentoring I mentioned before, there's a summer research experience that we send you off to an R1 campus, which is a research intensive or UC campus for the summer. We pay you a stipend. We pay your housing. We pay your travel to get there, and you're able to have this enriching, what we call an SRE, summer research experience. And students come back telling us that it's changed their life in terms of being away, working in a lab that has PhD students, where you're doing intensive research alongside of postdocs and PhDs. Also, a big part of the program is our specialized workshops and seminars, promoting research skills. We talk about bioethics, critical thinking skills, as I mentioned before. Problem solving is a biggie in terms of being successful in graduate school and doing research. And also we focus on leadership skills. Okay, so what do you need for the application? Your transcript, a letter of recommendation from a faculty research sponsor, or if you don't have a research sponsor, just a faculty that knows you well. I think you guys were talking about those dreaded personal statements, 2 personal statements, no more than 1 page each. So that's the good news. One of them is describing your educational and career plans in the biomedical or behavior fields and how this program will help you get to where you need to go. Number 2, describe your research experience and your research goals. Now, many times, even especially if you're a transfer student, you won't have that experience yet. We take that into consideration. And so we're very, very cognizant of the fact that there's different levels of experience of research here on campus. So if you don't have any research experience, don't shy away from applying if this sounds interesting to you, because we can set you up with a mentor so that you can get that research experience. And of course, assign waivers for letters of recommendation. What else do we do? We have a class. I love our title. It's called From CSUB to PhD. It's a general studies course, 30-50. Each semester, it's 1 to 2 units graded. In that class, you come to class, you learn how to write a statement of purpose. You learn how to look for schools. You learn how to ask for letters of recommendation. You learn how to the application process. You learn how to do a presentation, a poster. You learn about writing manuscripts, on and on and on. But importantly, we do have modules that focus on critical thinking skills and, of course, research ethics. Also, we have service learning projects that each cohort will develop and fulfill. We have what is called the CSUB Rise Journal Club, where we meet and we talk about different journals. We teach you how to dissect journals. It's very, very important as a graduate student that you know what to look for when you're reading scientific research or published work. We have you complete an e-portfolio so that you can add all of the things that you do in the program, and it becomes your personal portfolio that you can use in the future. We have what are called IDP plans, individual development plans for preparation for graduate school. All graduate programs now expect when you go in your first year to develop an IDP plan. The wonderful thing about our students, they already develop it as undergraduates. And then near peer mentoring activity, we have a part of the program that involves students that we call your big brothers and sisters that have been in the program. They can mentor and they can provide peer mentoring to you. I know I went through that quickly. Students that have been in the program, they tell us that it's changed their lives. I often tell them, you don't have to worry about money anymore. This program supports you through the whole process. We have many students that are in PhD programs right now. And the thing is, once you leave the university and you graduate and you get into a PhD program, we still connect with you. We still mentor you because we do have to keep track of you until you get your PhD. And so we become a very close-knit group of individuals where it's a lifelong relationship that you will have with me, my co-PI, and also a coordinator of the program. I adore this program because the students that we mentor, I become lifelong colleagues with them. In fact, several of them have gone on and become colleagues, gotten their PhDs, and now they're teaching. They're teaching all around the country, as well as in the CSU system. PhD programs snag up our students. First of all, it's the URISE NIH. It's well known. You've got credibility there. And then all the research experience that you have, our students have no problems getting into PhD programs. If you're interested, just send me an email and I'll send you the application packet. So I'd be very interested in your application. Where else are you going to get almost $15,000 to do research here at CSUB? We take in sophomores. Well, if we have them longer, then we can make them really competitive. We will take in a junior, or we will even take in a senior.
Thank you very much, Isabel, for all of that wonderful information.
You are welcome.